What's your message to men who actually are now listening to this or thinking to themselves, I still can't be that part of myself? What would you say or how would you explain to somebody that it's okay to feel?
Yeah, Kish, you're 100% right. There's this, and I think we've got to go back to the time of man and what were we born to do? We were born to be courageous. We were born to be curious. We were born to be hunters, right? So you've got to go and hunt, and you've got to look after the family, and you've got to make sure everything's okay. There is so much that we carry, so much. And if we are not going to get in touch with our own hearts and our own feelings, then there's going to be a lot more of us that are going to commit suicide, that are going to take our lives, are going to be living, not going to get the help when we are suffering with depression. I think when you bring that up, I'm sitting down, and when I think about growing up, you remember that you want to get your homework done as quick as possible. Do whatever your mother says you needed to do, so you can either go and play soccer or you go into the cricket field.
One of the two.
One of the two. So 100%. I don't remember doing anything else besides maybe, when a girlfriend crept in and then you wanted to sneak out to go and see her somewhere on the side quickly.
Yeah. Or you bring it to the cricket field and all the oaks are like. Okay.
But I think also the one thing that the cricket field gave me, Kish, was, and this was for me personally, I felt that once I walked over the rope, everybody was the same. So it didn't matter what background you came from, what religion, what color you were, whether you stayed in a double-story house or not. I felt everybody was made even then. And the only thing that now was going to differentiate you was your hard work, your skill, and whether you were courageous enough and bold enough to try and take the bull by the horns.
Yeah.
So I just thought I needed to share that with you, because for me, that was probably one of the places growing up that I didn't feel like I didn't belong.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Zen and Now. Today is a really special one. Today I'm sitting down with someone who's just not a guest, but a long-time friend, a former teammate, and someone who I've shared a lot of life over the years. Bharat, from our days on the cricket field to watching him grow as a true captain in the business world. And it's incredible to see how his journey has just unfolded. This conversation is really just two friends reconnecting, diving into our cricket stories, the lessons of the game, and how that shaped the leader that he is today. So help me welcome him to the show. Welcome, Bharat.
Thanks, Kish. Great to be here, and privileged to be here this afternoon on my side. I'm sure morning on your side. So
yeah,
happy to reconnect again.
No, it's awesome. It's always that distance that brings us back together. I think when we were close to each other, we didn't really reconnect after our days in cricket. But I think going back to those reconnecting and thinking about all those times we spent on the cricket field. I think we spent most of our childhood together, if you think about it.
Yeah. Grew up on the cricket field, and like you say, we spent most of our time there. Because whenever we had some free time, where were we? On the cricket field or at the cricket net?
Oh, doing something for sure. And I don't think we ever spent the time in those early years anywhere else.
No, I don't think so. I think when you bring that up, I'm sitting down, and when I think about growing up, you remember that you want to get your homework done as quick as possible. Do whatever your mother says you needed to do, so you can either go and play soccer or you go into the cricket field.
One of the two.
One of the two. So 100%. I don't remember doing anything else besides maybe, when a girlfriend crept in and then you wanted to sneak out to go and see her somewhere on the side quickly.
Yeah. Or you bring it to the cricket field and then all the oaks are like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Life now as we know it, how would you describe your current state, where you are, and why would you say you are in that current moment?
Yeah, Kish, like you said, I think it's been a while since we've probably actually just sat down and chatted, but I think a lot has happened. um, in the last couple of years. Where I find myself at the moment is probably at a place of healing, and I think this constant pursuit of contentment and peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't when I use the word pursuit, I mean it in the most respectable way, that it's not something that I'm looking for, but it's something that's very mindful, that I'm very mindful of, is that you want to be content in terms of where you find yourself. You also want to heal in terms of, I think, probably things that you've gone through, and things that I've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I find myself. I find myself in a place of healing, a place of really being content of where I am and where I find myself, and who I am, and you know, peace. Being happy with where you're at and where you find yourself.
You speak about healing. What it's a very intense word in terms of our life right now. And what does that what does it entail for you right now? Why the word healing?
Mm. Yeah, okay, sure. So let me put it this way, right? From growing up and seeing my dad be an alcoholic, being thrown
Mm,
through a window, um, wanting to commit suicide when I was young, 13 years old, took a whole bottle of tablets, and wanting to say, what, listen, that's it for me. And then
mm,
waking up in the hospital because they've just pumped your stomach. And you realize, okay, you still need to be around.
mm,
Watching your mom be a single mother, not finish school, work 2 jobs, um, grow up. I would say, grow up not as fortunate as maybe others, but I think fortunate in terms of having somebody watch over you. And then
mm,
as you go into life, being told that you're going to sweep the streets one day, you're not going to become anything. Chasing a dream of maybe wanting to play cricket at the highest
mm,
level, and that not becoming a realization. Um, there's some things that I've kept to myself that I haven't shared.
mm,
I've had to work through 2 abortions when I was young, making a decision that, together with my then girlfriend, to say, this is probably not the right thing to do now, and make those decisions when you're very young.
mm,
Um, you know, get married, be married for almost 16 years. And, yeah, my wife said no, she wants us to get a divorce. So got divorced, what was it? Last year was 2025.
mm,
So formally went through that in May. But yeah, she left the year before in 2024. And, I remember when she spoke to me about wanting to separate, um, was probably again one of the lowest of the lows, Kish.
mm,
I went through, obviously, I was seeing a therapist, and, um, I was literally on the edge of a building wanting to commit suicide again. And, I called my therapist, and, she spoke me down, and,
mm,
had to work really hard,
mm,
and, work through that phase. And, I think, work through, um, my mom becoming a gambling addict. And I think, looking up to her as
mm.
superwoman, and seeing that, she can also falter, was hectic. I had to
Right.
actually lock her up for a week at Sun City Prison, because
Wow.
she, she took somebody's car, and, pawned somebody's car in for money so that she could gamble. And, Yeah, I don't have a relationship with my brother anymore. He's got a son. I think his son's probably, gosh, I don't know, 13, 14 years old. The last
Wow.
time I saw him was a baby. So
Wow.
yeah, I've had to work through a lot. And I think the time that I've spent with my therapist has been invaluable.
Mm.
To get me to a place where, can, I can realize that, um, I can be okay.
Mm.
I can be okay. And that's why I say, I share with you where I'm at in terms of healing, because you still have moments where,
Mm.
um, it will dawn on me, and you sit back and you feel a little bit sad, and
Mm.
you you're thinking, sure, why do I need to carry on?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have that moment, and you have to then pick yourself up and say, listen, there's more. There is a purpose, and you can make a difference. So that's why I share the word healing with you, and contentment, and peace.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot that
Of-
I've just thrown at you there, but yeah,
no. I hear where you're going. I hear where you at, and first of all, as a brother to brother, I, I, I really feel you've been carrying a lot of heavy load for the past few years. And first off, I just want to say, whenever you need to chat, even if it's not just
mm,
with your therapist, I'm always here for you. And I just want to say,
yeah,
for us to be sitting here right now is a blessing, and I thank you for going through your healing journey, because it's never easy. A lot of people won't understand that really darkness that you go through. And similar to myself, I don't know why we put ourselves in this situation where we think to ourselves, it's the way out is just not being here. And I can understand that thought process of yours. It's not somewhere where we want to be in life. Growing up, we thought we were on the field, we were with our other brothers, just doing what we loved. And but then life obviously gives us unexpected circumstances that we need to navigate, and sometimes we navigate them well, sometimes we don't. But
yeah,
just know that I think you've probably let a lot off your shoulders just by saying those couple of sentences right now. And I think it feels that's why right now in this moment, I also feel like when people share those moments, it just takes a little bit of that load off themselves, to say that, hey, I can be brave, I can say what's not on my mind or what's in my heart, and not feel afraid to be judged in that way.
yeah,
Because you know what, we've grown up together. I know you, even if it's just a stranger. I understand how people are actually just trying to navigate the treacherous waves of life. And I've known your parents, I've known your brother all my life as well. And also, honestly, it breaks my heart to just learn about everything that has gone through. And I hope everything, by God's name, just eases up a bit and just gives you something
yeah,
that you can really say, hey, I'm back. Because that's all we
yeah,
want to be, is we want to feel that joy of life again. And right now, I just feel for you, brother. I know it's not
mm,
a nice place to be, but the positive thing that comes out of it, there's a negative and positive. The positive that out of it is that you 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 made the choice to heal, and that's awesome, and that I commend you for, because a lot of people, some of our brothers have taken their lives, or sisters have taken their lives, because they just never knew how to navigate. And
yeah,
that's why I advocate for, even if it's just not your professional, somebody, just somebody that you can trust to let that load off your chest. It really helps. Besides the therapy, is there anything else that you did during this journey that helped you through those moments?
yeah. Kish, I think, I think having good people around you, you know, becomes really, really important. People that I think I think you use the word judge, right? And as human beings, it's in our DNA. We
Mm,
always going to judge, but I think good friends that will be there to say, listen, hey, how can we help?
mm,
Um, let me just listen. Let me just remind you of who you are and what you have inside of you. And
mm,
at that time, at that moment, sometimes you might feel like, no, I don't need to listen to this. I don't want to listen to it.
mm,
But in hindsight, when you look back and you've got those good people around you that are encouraging you, that are talking to you, that are just reminding you of who you are and the difference that you make of just being around means a lot. So that's the one piece. I think
mm,
the second piece has definitely been, faith. In 2016, 2017, there's a church here in the south of Joburg, near the Mall of the South, that I used to drive past all the time, and I just felt this massive urge to, I needed to go there. I
mm,
don't know why, but I needed to go there. So I think just from a faith perspective, spiritually, just reconnecting with the man upstairs and building faith, has helped. Although I've gone through the period that I went through,
mm,
it shares, or it tells me that there's no perfection in human beings or in individuals. We all have our mistakes and faults, and we're all not sharp around the edges. We've got the rough edges,
mm,
and you've got to have good people. And whatever your faith or spiritual belief is, if that's there, um, it does help. It does help.
mm.
It reminds you of what you need to be, or why you need to keep fighting.
Yeah. For me at the time, I went into pray, not prayer, but the Hanuman Chalisa, it's the Hanumanji, like he's our God of power and grace, and just keeping your faith alive within yourself. And I would recite that when I was going through the anxiety phases of my life and depressive states. It's just something that you reconnect with. Growing, growing up, we would
Yeah,
would have our moments in our prayer rooms at home, and that was like something imprinted in us. If you're struggling, you don't have to believe in the physical presence of the being, but your faith within yourself is, or what you believe is, would guide you. And I've the last few years, the transformation and the openness to accept that the universe provides when it does, in like you cannot understand, you just don't make sense of it. It just helps you understand that there is something higher in the universe that's guiding you all the time, and it's also positioning you in places where it's asking you to learn from it, and
yeah,
then that's where it tests you. And just to know it also has your back,
mm,
to whatever happens. And
yeah,
that church probably is something that you probably never thought you'd ever do or need in your life, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So true. So
Yeah.
true.
And also it also provides you with that community, that sense of belonging to a place, even if it's just alone. But you can go to somewhere where you can just be with yourself, with your thoughts, and be safe. It's something that happened to me actually. We went to Austria last year, I think. Last year, or year before. I think it was last year. I can't remember when. But there's a church in Vienna where we don't discriminate against any religion, and we accept that when we walk into a place, it's a place of healing, a place of acceptance. And we walked in there, and the energy just felt like everything you had, or whatever you're thinking about, or whatever's on your shoulders, just lifted, because you just sat with energy that's pure. There was
Yeah,
no, I don't think there was any heaviness in that place, to be honest. And there were people in and out because it's a church. You go and you say
yeah,
your prayer, or you sit, whatever people are doing, they're sitting and uh, just using their time just to be with peace. And
yeah,
like I can attest to that, it's just somewhere where you can go, like our temples. You sit in there, be by yourself. There's nobody around you, and you can really process of what is happening. And I can really attest to that when you say those things. And I really do believe in this day and age that the universe puts us in those positions, or we're on this planet for a reason. And I'm just so glad that you actually drove in or drove past, and then you saw it and you decided, let me go.
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. I can't agree more with you. I think, you know, and there was just that sense of like there's a covering over you. I can't explain it. And yeah, it's helped a lot. It's built another layer on top of the foundation that you have.
Yeah, it's like a
That,
hug around you,
yeah, 100%.
like a warm hug.
Yeah, 100%.
Going back to your younger days, when we first met, you were this vibrant,
Yeah.
energetic individual, but we saw leadership qualities within you. Like from the get go, we saw you as somebody that was calm, cool, collected, and had that presence about yourself. Do you still see yourself in that light today?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that. I tell you, I think it was about, I think it was 2, 3. I can't remember now. There was a veterans league that we were playing in couple of years ago. Before I went through what I went through, I think it was 22 or 21. I can't remember, right? And I remember being in lanes, and I bumped into Kardami at the Alpha Primary. And the guys were all sitting down, and I don't know why we were talking about cricket and how we were growing up and leadership, and they were talking about captaincy and whatever. And so I decided to ask. I just said, what, guys? Hey, how did you guys see me as the captain of the side?
Yeah.
And the view I got, Kish, was, what? Listen, you were damn hard. You were. They used a 4-letter word, which I'm not going to use here because it might have to bleep out.
It's okay. Say it. It's okay.
They just, he just said to me, listen, it was like for you, it was important for you to do well. Probably more important than it was for us. But Kish, yeah, I mean, for me, there's still there's a massive, I think there's an innate drive in terms of, how you grew up and your experiences, and your desire to succeed, and to try and make a difference. I think when we were younger and, I got the privilege and the opportunity to lead a team, I felt the responsibility and accountability to lead from the front. That saying that says, as above, so below. You need to lead by example. And I felt that, if I can't lead by example, how am I supposed to tell the team to do things? And if I'm not prepared to do something, I can't ask the guys to do something that I'm not prepared to do. So, I recall sometimes when things were like really pressured, and I'd say to myself, keep it inside, because you can't you can't make the other guys feel pressurized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You need to be cool, calm, and collected. But inside, Kish, I was probably bubbling. I was probably like, gah! But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being the guy to lead the team. I don't know why. I don't know. When you say you guys saw it, I don't know what you all saw, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy sort of leading the team from the front, and then slowly understanding as the years went along that you've got to get the team also to pull together and find people's strengths, and that's what makes a team really, really powerful.
Yeah. They say leaders are born, and I think you were born a leader, regardless of whatever situation you were thrust upon. From your family home, from your family dynamics into your career, into your sporting life, I think you always were in a position where people saw something inside of you that was a leader. That's just the way I see it. Like, we saw you as we would take you as a leader any day of the week. I mean, we'd run through brick walls for you as a captain. And I think Kadami does label you as captain, right?
Yeah, yeah, he does.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You say what I mean. So it's just an innate quality that you have that a lot of people don't have, and they try and then try, but it's a natural part of your makeup, and that's why I think you've done so not well. You've done well in any circumstances because you see it from not just from the level playing field, but you see it from a little bit higher, and that gives you an advantage into the next step, because leaders are always looking ahead and looking forward of what's next and how can we improve, how can we resolve certain scenarios. And cricket does that. You have to always be thinking of the next thing.
Mm.
It's always keeping you on your toes. How do we place? Who goes the way? Which bowler comes on? How do we reshuffle the batting order? X, Y, and Z. And you've always got to be thinking. And then also then thinking about your own game at the same time. Or shit, how am I going to
Yeah.
contribute towards the team in runs, or even just with the ball if
Yeah.
I have to? But
Yeah.
it's a lot to process. And
Yeah.
but that's just something that we saw inside of you. And is there anything that you would take from us as the followers in that scenario, that you'd use it for your benefit?
Oh, yeah. First, thanks for that, Kish. And most definitely, I think the one thing that I think I learned quite quickly and took upon me was that everybody has got something to contribute.
Mm.
And how do I tap into an individual to get the best out of them? And I'm not going to say that I was always successful. You try different methods, but I think also, I think vulnerability, right? I think when you sat down and you sat in the change room and you looked at different people, there were some guys that were just a little bit more vulnerable than other guys. Other guys had to put on, they'd put on this ego, they'd put on this mask that, what, they're strong, nothing's going to put them down. And other guys you could just see that they wore their hearts on their sleeve. You could see their emotions. Sometimes they wouldn't say anything, but you could actually just see where they were, how they felt. And it was, you needed to have the ability to pick that up. They say that, when people are saying something, you need to be listening to what they're not saying. And it's equally the same when people are not saying anything. You need to be also you need to be in tune to understand, okay, what is potentially going on,
Right.
and what's that question that can unlock some that allows or will allow you or will allow them to invite you into their world to share what's happening. And I think for me that's been something that's I've carried with ever since then. And I've learned a lot from the cricket field and from people that I've met there and led with is the discipline part, but also just how you engage different people, and that people are different and unique. And when you treat people uniquely and you see them, and that sometimes is so underestimated. You've got to see that person. And when that person feels seen, then that's where the magic is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where they feel like, this guy gets me. He sees me.
Yeah.
And then I think that's where you get more out of people,
Yeah. Sure. You said something very important there. I think, listen to what people are not saying. And that's a quality of a leader, because they're not just looking at the surface level. They actually, okay, I'm going to use Sir Alex, I know you're Liverpool supporter. But, man management wise, he saw something in those people underneath the talent and the surface level. And he saw something that could really he could tap into, and that's similar to yourself, and that's where we would feel comfortable. Is you saw something in us that we never really saw in ourselves, and that's when the team dynamic came together nicely. I think there was a period of time when we were like beating like really top teams in our league,
Yeah.
and not just beating them, but really showing them that this is us. Don't underestimate us. And I think that was the time a lot of us felt really confident in our ability, even not just on the cricket field, but then we took it in our everyday life as
Yeah.
well. And those two married together, it's so important, because if one avenue is not great, then you don't really put your heart and soul into anything else, because you're constantly thinking about the what's not working. But
Yeah.
but let's be honest, we never ever really saw good mentorship during our time. I'll be honest with you, there's very selected few people that we could look up to and say, hey, this is exactly how we should be conducting ourselves, or how we should be taking that forth onto the cricket field, or in anything in life. And we made mistakes, but I think we've grown a lot since then, and understanding now accountability. You use very important words, accountability and vulnerability is something that is so important now in this day and age for men, especially now,
Yeah.
young men and their 20s, 30s, 40s. Vulnerability is still such a taboo feeling that men feel that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
What's your message to men who actually are now listening to this or thinking to themselves, I still can't be that part of myself? What would you say? How would you explain to somebody that it's okay to feel vulnerable?
Yeah, Kish, you're 100% right. I think there's this, and I think we've got to go back to the time of men and what were we born to do? We were born to be courageous. We were born to be curious. We were born to be hunters, right? So you've got to go and hunt, and you've got to look after the family, and you've got to make sure everything's okay. But there is so much that we carry, so much. And if we are not going to get in touch with our own hearts and our own feelings, then there's going to be a lot more of us that are going to commit suicide, that are going to take our lives, are going to be living, not going to get the help when we are, suffering with depression. That's something I didn't share with you as well. I mean, I'm on medication for that. It's helping me. But if we don't talk about things, if we don't share where we're at and what we're going through and what we're feeling and the things that we're doing to heal and become better men, others are not going to know that it's okay. Yeah. And the more of us that speak out, the more of us that share our stories, the more of us that are brave enough, if that's the word we want to use, courageous enough to say, hey, listen, I've made mistakes. This is the heartache I've gone through. This is where I found myself. Then I think we give other people permission to do the same.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, drop a comment, and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow.
But more of us need to talk about it, because, it's like that iceberg effect, Kish. We like to see what's on top of the water and not what's at the bottom. And that's all as guys. I don't know why we do that sometimes, but we only look at the top. We see the guy, he's got a nice car, he's got a nice home, beautiful family, and we think everything's okay. But everybody's got a story. Everybody is going through something. And if we don't talk about it and if we don't share about it, we're not helping each other. We're actually making things worse.
Yeah.
And that's why when I've been seeing what you've been doing, I've just been so proud of that, because I remember when we were playing, just how quiet you'd be, or you'd be very reserved. And when you felt comfortable, then you'd open up. And if I can put that in the sense of like you were saying now, when we were beating the good teams, because the talented players that we had were just not they talented. They brought the talent to the field, and you were one of those guys. You scored. There were times when you scored 300s in a row at Premier League level. You know what I'm saying?
Two. I think it was two back to back. Yeah,
back to back. And the way you took it on. I remember us sitting in the change room and we're saying like, there he is. That's what he can do. And when you talk about taking that and putting that into life, Kish, there you are. And that talent and that ability and that skill is transformed into this, where you're opening doors for other people. So if we don't do that, if we don't share, if we don't show people that, we can come through the dark times and we can come through the dark spaces, then we don't give other people permission to shine. We don't give them the permission to also say, okay, it's okay to say I made a mistake. It's okay to say that I've gone through some tough times and, I'm suffering from depression. I'm on medication. I'm seeing a therapist. Like you said, people think those are all taboo. It's not taboo. We need to get help, and it just makes us healthier people, for the people around us. And then I think it gives us the opportunity to really tap into the gift that God has given us to make an impact and to make things better than what we found it. But you can't do that if you're not okay. You can try, but when you do that, you just give so much of yourself. You don't know how to put back into your own cup, that you just keep draining yourself. And then what good are you? So I think it's very important. I know I'm saying a lot, but it's very important. And I get emotional when I have to share where I'm at and what I've gone through. But I also know that, the platform that you have provided today is a God-given one. And if you don't take that and if you don't use it to try and make a difference and at least hopefully reach one person, then why do it?
Yeah. No, thank you for that. I've always wondered what during that moment of, that time when you said I was already expressing myself, finally showing who I am and what I was doing. I always I was wondering, what did you guys think? Because we don't really ask those questions, and let's be honest, we didn't really chat about somebody's performance in a way that just to give them constructive feedback, like in that positive way. Like, thank you for that. I know it's years gone by, but I really appreciate what you guys were feeling and expressing at the time, because it then transfers to me, because I know you guys have my back and I have your back, because I am contributing towards us doing well, not just myself, but us as a unit.
100%.
And I think we had a really good synergy as a unit back then, and a lot of the guys fed off each other, and we put in the hard work off the field. I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is the success doesn't come from on the field, it comes off the field. We showed up 5 days a week. We played Saturday, Sunday, and we were continuously harnessing our skill at every single moment. Even if we were in our daily lives, 9 to 5s, but when we came to that time to grind, we really did. And I take, for example, that time when your brother, he was against Vats actually, and he scored at 100 with that mini bat. Like, how did you actually? Like, bro, how did you score 100 with that mini bat? It just didn't make sense to any of us. But it was the actual determination and grind and the amount of running. He didn't score big runs, big boundaries or anything, but he ran and he literally maneuvered the field. But it was a skill and quality that he had. That's something that you say, hey man, well done. That's amazing, because it takes so much of energy to do that, to score 100 runs just by running. That's not easy, especially in the heat that we used to play in. And there was also a moment when myself and you, had an opening partnership of, I think it was 180 odd plus, no wickets down. And I don't know if it still holds a record. I don't know. Maybe it's broken, but that's just something that we fed off each other. Like, you scored 100 that day, I scored 80 odd that day. And I really felt disappointed when I didn't get my 100 because I was kicking myself because it was there. It was for the taking and I didn't take the opportunity. But, we contributed towards a team that would eventually bring us the victory. And that's the type of thing that we kind of just want to achieve in life as well. It's like we feed off each other in a positive way. Because when you don't have that kind of support, it's very difficult to actually try and navigate the tough times. Because it's a partnership, right? When we're batting or bowling or in any sport, there's moments when you're going to have a dip, when you're not timing it, you're not hitting the ball right, your footwork isn't going nowhere. But you need the person on the other side to say, hey, you know what? I'll take the load off now. You just chill on the other side, gather yourself. I'll do most of the work. And when your time comes, then just give it back to me. And then so on and so forth.
Spot on.
So
I love the analogy you're using because that's life, right?
yeah.
And you asked me early on, you said, when you're going through tough times, who else do you? And it's like a partnership. You've got good people in the corner that they need to now take the strike for you, and they need to be there for you. And then when you're okay, and they're going through a tough time, you take on the strike, and you spot on. And I think the cricket analogy for me, Kish, when you talk about it in that sense, for me that's life. It's like when you're going through a really tough time, it's probably day 5, spinning, turning wickets, and you're needing to just hang in there. And I think, when you have to make decisions around abortions or wanting to commit suicide because you're going through a divorce and you don't know how to heal, I think to your point, you've got to, you've just got to find something inside of you that says, just hang in there a little bit longer. And hopefully in that partnership, you've got somebody that says, okay, listen, I'm going to take that strike a bit. And I think about the strike of when I called the therapist and she went on strike for me to say, listen, hold on, let me talk you down now. And when you talk about captaincy and thinking about the next move, you're right. It's if you think about, finances or your career goals or what's next for you in the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months. It's all about, I'm not going to call it strategy, but it's all about thinking. It's all about goal setting. It's all about, okay, if this happens, what we're going to do. If we want to achieve that, how, as a couple or as a relationship, how do we get there? And, cricket for me has taught me so much of those things in life. Whenever people ask me, even in the workspace, they'll say, where have you learned a lot about your business stuff? And I'll say the first answer with no hesitation, I'll say to them on the cricket field, where did you learn about, people or engaging with people? I'll say cricket field. That's where you learn. That's where I learned about life.
Yeah. I think most of us actually learned what life meant or what life is from on that field, just every single day. Take me back to where cricket began for you. Where did the journey start? When did the interest spark? And why cricket?
Sure, Kish. So listen, I loved my soccer. Let's start there, right? But there was some, I don't know if it was a selection thing happening at Impala Crescent. I can't remember. All I remember was, that very tall guy, Jack Manach, was there. And people were bowling, people were batting, and there was some sort of selection process happening. And
was it the days of the Bakers? Did you start at Bakers?
Probably there, but it was at school. And Kish, my first ever game for Impala Crescent was at that Rose Avenue cricket field.
Yes.
Where the Shell garage was just behind Impala Crescent.
Yeah.
And I was the long stop. I was the guy standing behind the wicket keeper, boss. I batted at 11. I didn't bowl. And I stood behind the wicket keeper because whatever he missed, I had to collect and throw it back. So I remember that was my first days of cricket and I absolutely hated it. And when you ask me what sparked it, there was a guy I remember going, so I stopped then. And then I remember we moved from extension 5 to extension 1. My mom and dad divorced. We were staying in Gemsbok Avenue at Droitland Mansions, and the Lenasia Stadium was just a walk away. And I remember that time of Solly Mangera, and then there was a guy called Shamsher from was it UAE? I can't even remember now.
Pakistan. I think it's Pakistan.
Pakistan, was it?
Yeah.
And the way he coached us, Kish, I remember me and my brother going, and then we had to make notes on we got a book and we had to make notes of how to catch, and the way you catch, you drink in water, and that what got me back into cricket. The way he taught us what cricket is about and how you need to show up and how you need to work hard and the discipline around that. That's what got my interest again. So that's where it sparked, Kish.
Nice. Yeah, you're taking me back to when I first started as well. The Jack Manak, I think he started most of our careers. But he just brought the game to us in a way that, he brought it to us, but we were the ones who actually took interest in it. And I remember walking. I stayed in Extension 3, and then I walked with, Parak's brother to myself and him actually took a walk to Bharat Stadium. And, back then lands was a bit safer to walk. You could walk in.
Yeah.
And we went to our first Baker's mini cricket session. Just bats and balls and bowling. You do everything. Wicket keeping, batting, bowling, fielding, catching, whatever. You do everything. But I don't know. It's just something about just being on that field and being on the grass. Just something that was within us that just, we love that camaraderie. I think we love that space. We love the energy. And like you said, even though the first time you hated it, there's something that called you back. Because you really want to do, like a leader does. Like you really want to just not give up, because that's what leaders do.
Yeah,
they don't really stop at not figuring it out why it didn't work out. Because you need to know, in analysis, how we do root cause analysis. We want to figure out what's the root cause. Why didn't it work? Or why did it work?
Yeah. 100%.
So all of those come full circle, and it's like, that moment you impala. And then it carries on from there. How did it progress from you from there? And shout out to our mentor back then. I said we didn't have any good mentors, but we did have a really good, I would say, cricket dad in terms of knowledge-wise and experience in Solly Mangera. He gave us most of our platforms to go on and try and achieve what we could in the game. And we just, shout out to him. He's always been, one of those people in our lives that would always be regarded as a father figure when we were away from our parents at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you say, you went back and you looked at, you wanted to do root cause analysis, you're quite right. You go back, you go and understand. But I think also the one thing that the cricket field gave me, Kish, was, and this was for me personally, I felt that once I walked over the rope, everybody was the same. So it didn't matter what background you came from, what religion, what color you were, whether you stayed in a double-story house or not. I felt everybody was made even then. And the only thing that now was going to differentiate you was your hard work, your skill, and whether you were courageous enough and bold enough to try and take the bull by the horns.
Yeah.
So I just thought I needed to share that with you, because for me, that was probably one of the places growing up that I didn't feel like I didn't belong. There were instances, I'm not going to lie, there were instances. I think especially when you get selected in different provincial teams where I think different coaches definitely go out of their way to make you feel like you don't belong. But when I was growing up, I felt like, okay, everything is even here, you know, and now it's just about down to raw talent, determination, the hard work you've put in, to see who comes out on top. But if I fast track it, I mean, from there, where did it take me? I mean, yeah, I think we played a lot of under 13 and under 15 cricket, which was really lacquer. I think cricket also gave me the opportunity. My brother got a scholarship to go to Saints. I got a scholarship through cricket to go to Cares. There was like a dark time there. So on the day that my brother got his scholarship to go to Saints and I got my scholarship to go to Cares, my mother actually had a brain hemorrhage on that particular day. So when we got back home, she had a brain hemorrhage, and I remember them taking her to Lenmed Clinic. And I remember then Dr. Gopal, Pipan's dad, had to operate on her, and I was called in, and they were like, listen, we need to operate on your mom. And so that was hectic. But yeah, got a scholarship to go to Cares, got to Cares. And I think when you come from where you come from, like we spoke about, leaders listening to what you're not saying, and even when you're quiet, what is your body language saying, or what space you're in. I don't think then the coaches there actually took the time to understand who I was. So I got there, played under 15 cricket, then broke into the second team and then into the first team. Got bullied, got beaten up, didn't get when there was practice at the Wanderers, I remember asking the guys if I could catch a lift with them to get to the Wanderers, and they'll tell me no, they don't have any space. And I used to then run from Houghton to Wanderers for practice.
Run
Like
with your
run.
gear.
So the first time I went, I'd left my gear there. Then I used to run to Wanderers, practice. Then from there, I used to run back to boarding school, right? Jeez. And then hope that the chef put aside food for me, right? And that happened a good couple of times until Hugh Page found out about it, and he then used to, give me a lift back. But yeah, played first team cricket there. Was privileged enough to then play a Gauteng invitation game against Ireland at the Wanderers, and then played an invitation game against Pakistan in Lens. And and then I sort of had a Colts contract, but only now I realized that was like sort of, I don't know what was that, because you sign a piece of paper, you go to practice, and you never play any cricket. So that was interesting. And then, you chase the dream, Kish. You play Premier League cricket, and you try and score lots of runs, and you've got this dream and ambition that, you can be the person that can break through, And then there's a realization that comes with it where you understand that, hey, listen, your mom's the only one working at home. You're getting bigger. You want to also have some money on the side to go and party. You need to start working. And then I remembered having to say, okay, I'm going to work and I'm going to try and play cricket. And you playing cricket, and then you saying, okay, maybe I can do this. And so continued to play Premier League cricket for Lenasia. Started working at APSA. Well, before APSA, I worked in Pritchard Street in town, where I fixed sewing machines, and I started selling sewing machines. I don't know if you guys actually know them, but that's what I did.
No, we never knew that. Wow. Okay.
So I did that before I actually got a job at APSA, and I got the job at APSA through Mitham, and then that's where it is. And then I played for Delphos Cricket Club. I played for Lenasia South Cricket Club. And to your point, wherever I played, I went to Delphos, I remember, and I was there like maybe for half a season. And then all of a sudden the guys came to me and said, listen, hey, we'd like you to captain the team, And then I remember DK opening up Lenasia South Cricket Club. And then I went across there. I captained that team. And then, yeah, so cricket's been very much part and parcel of who I am and, part of my journey.
Whew. Yeah, I always wanted to chat to you about, your time at King Edward's and what was that experience like for you? Thank you for sharing that, being bullied, and it's something I can also attest to because in high school that was kind of most of my most of my days. Looking back in hindsight, I think it shaped us to who we are today. To not let that stop us from actually trying to achieve what we want to achieve. And yeah, in hindsight, it's not something that I would want anybody to go through. However, it was our journeys, and it made us want to become better people. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's just taught me to be a little bit more thick-skinned in that way, stand up for myself.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I was really shy, reserved, and never really wanted to get into any altercations, but it's necessary at times. But we don't, in that moment, we just don't really know how to navigate without being totally ostracized or being totally shut down. Because at the age of 12, I mean, when we get to high school, 13, 12, 13, we're still, little young men trying to figure things out. Hormones all over the show. We just don't know what's happening in life. And, just to be kind to somebody else at that point in time, we didn't understand it, why somebody would be that mean to you. What was the reason? And I remember, we played Treadwell Week under 13 for Lenasia, and we played it at St. David's. And we walked in the first day one, and we were these scrawny little kids with our white shorts and long socks. Not the best of equipment, and just didn't have that stature that the schools had, those cricketing schools had. And I remember looking at this one kid. He had all the best gear. He was at a private school. He was, parents that supported them. Our parents, I think only myself and Khalid's dad were around. Sometimes your mom would come and watch us. We didn't have that kind of support around us.
Spot on.
But we tried to compete. We tried to do the best that we could. And like you said, we had the talent, which is just something, maybe when, I'm not speaking for others, for myself, when I saw somebody a little bit bigger than me or a little better than me, I kind of went inwards instead of stepping out. But maybe that's because of the experiences I had in high school. Kind of then, I was like, no, I can't really do this. I feel fear. I don't want to really express myself. But thankfully, cricket also then gave me the opportunity to try and express myself. I may not have done it in the best way possible, but it just gave me that little bit of peace of mind to say, okay, I'm at level playing field here. Like you said earlier on, we were at level playing field. We just didn't maybe just have that little bit of shoulder talk to say, you know what? I'd say, fuck these guys. We know what we can do. Let's just go out and do it. And then those tournaments taught us, okay, we don't have anything to be afraid of. Because then we won, I think Johnny Waite. You remember, we used to go to pick up the Oaks in the combi.
Yep.
Go pick up Tana from college. And then still go and play and then beat these schools and then win a tournament of that stature, because you're not just competing with, like we say, with development teams. You're competing against the best schools in Gauteng and with the best coaches, best facilities, everything. I mean, there's something there that was within us. And like you said, maybe because of bureaucracy, the politics, whatever, it just never happened for us. But we take that now in our lives going forward, and we can make something for ourselves. We choose to do something for ourselves, and just so that we can now help the other the next generation understand that you don't have to have the best of everything to succeed. It just comes,
Spot on.
there's something within you that you need to work really hard for. And it's going to days when it's going to suck. It's going to feel like like when you squeeze a towel, or you need to squeeze all that energy out of you. It's going to hurt. It's going to really hurt. But when you get to the other side, when the towel is dry and it's fluffy again, you kind of appreciate that those experiences that we go through. And those are the kind of things that we're just trying to impart now on the next generation, or even now, whoever's listening to this right now. Just remember, whatever you're going through right now, even if it's a little bit tricky, remember that it's okay to feel what you're feeling, and what you're feeling is valid. And also try and put that down somewhere where it takes it out of a little bit off your shoulders. Like you said, you went to the church, you went to therapy. Same for me as well. I went to therapy. I tried speaking to just friends. I just spoke to a good friend at work, and he would help me every single day because I needed to speak it out. But then eventually I realized I needed professional, like proper help in the hospital. I needed to go and have that time away from life, basically, and just try and come back to myself. And like, I'm also on medication for depression. I take it now every single day, and it's helped me. Like, it's with Eastern philosophy, with Western medication, Western practices, the two have come together now for me to actually and try and help the next person, or even just help somebody just say, hey, I'm taking a load off your shoulders. And I think your story is a testament to that, where you've shown up for yourself so that you could be there for others. It's not just yourself that it affects. It's such a ripple effect of chaos. If you, let's just say you had taken your life, how would your brother have been? How would it affect your mom? How would it affect your friends, your colleagues, everybody around you? How would it affect us if we had learned about, something like that? We would be devastated as a group, because we're still a tight-knit group. We're not, even though we fall apart, we still keep in contact with each other. And just like, so I think coming back to my point is that you've shown up for you. And my point is, that's what you need to do in every single moment of life, is that cricketing journey, that soccer journey, whatever it is, show up for yourself in the best way you know how. And don't be afraid to express yourself without judgment.
Yeah. I think you've said that really, really well. And when you've shared what you've shared, I mean, just sparks this off in my head is you use the word choice. And sometimes we can forget that when we get up in the mornings, it's not by accident. Somebody has woken us up and said, listen, you've got another day, you've got another opportunity. What are you going to do with the gift that I've put inside of you? And we can choose with what we do with that day. And when I say that, like you've so well said it, is sometimes we choose that, hey, listen, I think I'm having enough. I want to take my life. That's still a choice. That's still something that you need to go through. But if it's not your time, it's not your time. And the universe, faith, God, whatever you believe in, something will be put in your path to redirect you and to help you.
Yeah.
And it's then what you do with that choice that you've been given. Are you going to show up? And are you going to, like you say, and I like that analogy of wringing that towel, are you going to wring yourself and just get through it? It's going to be hard. It's going to be ugly. It's not going to be nice, but you have to go through what you have to go through to get to the other side. And if you're prepared to do that, then you can learn something through that journey. And I think what's also helped me is I've also just, as I go through the journey, I've remembered that there's somebody that you don't know that's watching you. There's somebody that you don't know that's looking up to you and saying, if he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. And because you're open, you're honest, you're transparent, you say this is where you find yourself, this is where you've gone through, I like the saying, you then give people the permission to also say, I can do this. Because sometimes it's about giving that person the permission to believe in themselves. Because, and some people might be listening to this and they'll say, what does he mean when he say people need permission? It's crazy, but somebody sometimes just needs to see somebody else take that first step, say that first word. Like you've said, talk about things that guys need to talk about so that they don't have to feel like it's taboo. We just need to take that first step, and then we give other people permission to try and achieve things that they didn't think was possible. And for me, that really drives me, Kish. Is like, keep going, try and be better than you were yesterday. Understand that when you walk out, like when we're done and I go for a 5K walk and I'm feeling the sun on my face and I'm walking through, I really have started to learn to say, how do I just take that in for now? Because about a year and a half, 2 years ago, it could have all been gone.
Yeah.
And I would not have been around. And I think that piece there has been like a real, I don't know, switch on for me, that sometimes I get home in the week and it's a Wednesday and I'll put a braai on, because who says you can't braai on a Wednesday? Who says you can't braai on a Monday?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be a Friday thing or a Saturday thing, you know? I think that's I think that's about living life. You know, it's about saying, hey, you know, tomorrow is not promised. And when you wanted to make a choice to take your own life, then you know that tomorrow is not promised.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
When you have got the privilege to be awoken, what are you going to do with today?
Yeah. No, I love that you said that. It's that choice that we make every single day to enjoy the present. Because I think a lot of the times we are focused so much on the outcome that we forget to enjoy the process. Like the process for us would have been rocking up to the stadium, unpacking your bag, greeting everybody, you know, getting prepared, mentally prepared for what the session holds. How are you going to approach the session? What energy are you going to bring to the session? If you're not feeling it, do you express that to your coach or to the other oaks or to your captain to say, hey guys, I'm not feeling it today. Just understand that I'm not feeling it today. But I will give something to it, but I'm not probably feeling it. And that's okay, because not every day is the same. But just expressing that in that moment to say, you know, Bharat, I had a really long day and I just don't have the energy to actually give 100% today. But I will give what I have left with inside of me. But going forward, I will try and do X, Y, and Z to give you 100%. I will show up for you or the team. And those small little things add up to the 100%. So that's the kind of thing we need to do every single day. Like you're going to, after this, go for your 5K walk. You'll come back. You'll be like, okay, accomplished. Cool. I've done that for myself today. Tomorrow, we'll see what happens. Like the last few days, I've kind of figured out, okay, I've been going hard I've done 2 recordings already. This is my 3rd one this week. It's a lot to take and work and try and to do exercise, to be there for myself. And I think I felt it the last couple of evenings. But it doesn't mean I don't have to show up for myself in small moments. And this moment is a small moment. And then the outcome would be the publishing of the episode. So it's all about just experiencing and enjoying the process of every small thing that happens till you get to that goal. And when you get to that goal, you kind of like, do you feel like you appreciate it more?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think there's that sense of accomplishment inside of you it says to you, you know, yes, I did it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we mustn't be afraid of also feeling that moment, you know, and saying, hey, I'm proud of me, man. I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't maybe all day. I didn't have all the energy, but I got through it and I made it today.
Mm.
I like what you're saying because, like you said, third recording. I mean, it could be taking a lot out of you because you've got to, you invest in a lot, right? Mental capacity, your emotional capacity. You've got to be here. You've got to be picking up on certain things and replaying it back. So there's energy that you pouring out in it. But when you're there and when it's gone well, then you can sit back and you can say, yes, I did it. And that
Yeah.
felt good because what was the purpose of this? Going back to your purpose, I want to make a difference. I want to impact people. And when you put in it and packaging it together and you see it go out and then you say, I'm glad I hung in there. It was a little bit tougher that week, but I stuck it out and I got to where I needed to get to. So I think you're right. I think it's all about, like you say, draining that towel and getting through what you need to get through. But when you get there, really celebrating and at the same time, then making sure you can pour back into your own cup because you can't give if there's nothing in your cup.
For sure. What does like a day to day look like for you now? Going through all of what you have gone through. What does a day in the life of Bharat look like today?
Yeah. Shokish. So, I wish I could tell everybody listening that I get up at 4 a.m. and I do meditation.
Like the Ashton Halls.
No, I don't do that. Yeah. No. I don't do that at all. I try and I don't get a lot of sleep, so I probably sleep about 4 to 5 hours. I'm up, let's say about 5:30. Then getting ready for work. I'll leave here at about 6:30 because with traffic from the south to Auckland Park's always a challenge. When I get to the office, on my way to work, I'm either listening to worship music, not so much 94.7 anymore, but a lot of more worship music or listening to my favorite all R&B.
I know
or
you.
The new Thames, or the new Thames music that's out, me and you. I like driving to that.
Nice.
Get to the office and I must say I really enjoy. So contact center for me has become my new cricket field, Kish. So that's where my planning comes around. That's where I really, really enjoy it. And I enjoy it from a perspective of growing people and opening doors and opportunities for youngsters that come from myself and your background. And what I'm looking to do differently is I want to create an environment, and I keep working on creating an environment where people can feel seen, that there's belief in that environment, that when you're there and you're working in my space, that you work in a space where people believe in you. People are going to push you hard, but people are going to support you. They're going to help you. They're going to coach you. But they're going to remind you of your why. So why did you get up? Why do you need to survive? And why do you need to succeed in life? Because I don't want nobody, missing an opportunity to try and be better than they're supposed to be. So that's my day. I work with 175 people in the contact center. I've got about 28 leaders. So a lot of tactical and operational work that goes through the day. And then some strategic meetings. And then when I'm done at the office at about 4:30, I go to body tech. One of my friends say that that's not gym. They call it a life event. I'd like to say no, it is gym for me. So I'll do body tech. And then from there, if I get home and I do a bit of boxing. So I've taken up some boxing, Kish. So I'm on the bag. Amazing. I've got some moves. So when you're back in SA, again,
we'll
let me know. We'll catch up. We won't spar. You can hold the bag.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll hold the bag.
So do that, and then I'll do a bit of a walk. So I love doing a walk in the estate that I'm staying in now. And then I love sitting by the fire, Kish. So you'll either catch me on the braai stand, which they say is not a braai, but it's a braai, Kish. Okay, it's a braai.
And
it's a gas.
It's a braai. Yeah.
And then I'll sit by the fire. And then, sometimes when I'm driving into work, I'll listen to some books. So I like to do audio books, and then I like to listen to podcasts, yours included.
Thank you.
So I do that. When I'm driving to work or driving
Mm.
back from home. And that would be the day. And then some days I'm playing paddle, and then over the weekends, look to try and brush up on the golf, so play a bit of golf now. So yeah, that's sort of a day in the life of me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have pictured it any different, actually. Because we've always been active, I think we both understand the importance of just some form of physical activity throughout the day, hasn't it?
100%.
Even if we're not being like in the professional environment or the competitive environment, it's just something that we probably do just to keep our minds sharp and safe in a way that we know that we're showing up for ourselves. That's the way of filling up our cups. It's just about movement,
Spot on.
going for a walk, or just thankfully we have a nice, like, I can't wait for the weather to warm up. I need to get back on the bike, man. It's itching. Just sitting there now, just waiting. I'm tired. But yeah, looking forward to that. And but no, like even in the winter moments, we still try and go out for our walks. And like you said, it's just showing up for your why. That's very important. I think I want to reiterate that. Why do we show up for ourselves? Why? And if you can impart that knowledge onto somebody else, they carry it forward. It just starts the conversation. So many other people to why do we do what we do? And sometimes there's an innate calling, like you were born to lead, like I was born to help, but we're leading and helping at the same time.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the perspective of what I take from you. Is no matter what environment you're in, you'll always want the best for the next person, and that's a very very rare quality in this day and age where it's all about me. What can I do? How can I do this brand deal? How can I get ahead of somebody else? And I just want to be better than everybody else. But the mindset that we grew up with is how can we help ourselves so that we can help the others around us be better? Because we understand the brotherhood, we understand the team dynamic, and then brotherhood comes into perspective of that. And now that it's not as close as we were before, but what does that mean to you? What does brotherhood and camaraderie have taught you in life so far?
Sure, Kish, you've hit the nail on the head. You don't achieve anything in life without others.
Right.
I'm a firm believer of that. I know you get individual sports like golf or tennis, but if you really think about it,
but they still have people around them, right? Coaches, mentors, physicians, whatever
psychologists,
it is. Exactly, whatever it is.
There's a team that sits around them, and that, to your point, you don't achieve anything today without others. I think it's important that I think I read something the other day, or listened to something the other day. I can't remember exactly, but they said that as you get older, it's not about money. It's not about the flashy cars. It's not about the big house. It's about spending moments with people that have got shared values, shared dreams, but are really just there for each other, and you enjoy each other's company. You asked that question about brotherhood. Brotherhood/sisterhood is about just being around people that will lift each other up, that irrespective of whether you're sitting in a nice restaurant or you're sitting outside an Ecclewires, Kish, just having a chips bologna on a bonnet with bread and an ice coke, but the conversation that you're having, the value that you guys can share between each other, the guidance that you can share, your experiences that you can share, the knowledge that you share with each other, and that improves each other. That for me is so important. There's so many times when Mitham, for example, he's moved out to Geneva, Switzerland, to work over there. Okay. But we chat probably every third day, right? And we We'll talk about work. He'll share with me his experience. I'll share with him my experience. How's things going at home? How we feeling? Because you asked, listen, hey, why don't we share? How are we feeling? Where do we find ourselves?
That's good. Yeah.
Excuse me, where do we find ourselves? And without that brotherhood, you can become very lonely and very quiet very quickly. We need people around us. We're social beings. But having the right people around you is even so important. So brotherhood and sisterhood, for me, very, very important with a big exclamation mark. We've got to be there for each other.
No, I agree with you 100% there. And every time you say Midtime's name, it brings me back to Farmer Brown. Remember Farmer Brown songs? Oh, I'll never forget that. What he was, but he was, Midtime's an awesome guy. I saw that guy. Was very, yeah. Next time you speak to him, tell him I said I was at Farmer Brown, okay?
I will. I will.
No, man. Bharat, I think this is the most heartful conversation I think we've ever had in our existence and our relationship together. And it's awesome. It's amazing to learn everything about you in this moment. And when I reached out to you, I think the time was right. It was right because you're doing amazingly well in the career space. Congratulations on all the success and the awards. And I was listening to there's a YouTube video where you were interviewed for an award, and you spoke with just that calmness, that poise that we all know and love about you, and it's well achieved. Congratulations, brother. It's you're doing so well, and I think what you're doing also for people around you in your team and everybody, you can't really put that into words, but just from me to you, congratulations. I think you should pat yourself on the back. And just keep going, brother. Just keep, showing up for yourself, firstly and foremost, and everything else. And I wish you all the success. But before we wind down the pod, and just wanted to ask, one piece of advice for somebody who's listening to this, who's actually going through a bit of a challenging time right now. What's one thing that they could just start off with, just to start their healing journey?
You've got to sit down and acknowledge that that there's pieces inside of you that are a little bit broken or a little bit cracked. Yeah. And sometimes that feels embarrassing, and it's not going to feel lekker, to a guy or to a lady. But you've got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, listen, this is where I'm at. I'm hurting. I'm broken. I don't feel lekker. And what is it that you want to feel? Do you want to feel okay? Do you want to feel life? Do you want to enjoy life? Do you want to be able to laugh from your belly? Do you want to be healthy enough so that you can go into a relationship or have people around you where, they enjoy having you around, and you also enjoy being around others? Because when we get into those dark moments and into those dark places, and when we're going through a tough time, Kish, all we want to do is sometimes just be alone.
Yeah.
We sometimes are around with people, but we're not there. We're not there. We're somewhere else. And that's also not good. So look yourself in the mirror. Be honest enough with yourself to say where you're at. And then reach out. Talk to friends. Talk to family. If you need to get help and you're in a position that you can get help, get the help. Because there's a reason why that aha moment would have come. That's the universe. That's the man upstairs saying, hey, listen, my child, my son, my daughter, I need you to get help. So go out and get that help, because he's put a gift inside of you that he's wanting you to use to make an impact in the world. But that impact can only happen when you're healthy and you're strong and you feeling good, and when you and when you enjoy being around other people. Because when you enjoy being around other people are going to enjoy being around you. So I would say that would be the starting point, Kish, and then go and get that help. And like you said earlier, unfortunately, human beings are like that. The first thing we do is we judge people. But there's a fantastic podcast that I came across by as a book actually called Let Them and Let Me Theory, Mel Robbins. And
Oh yeah, okay.
listen to that podcast, listen to that interview, because you're not in control of what others do, but you are in control of how you would respond
Yeah.
to a situation that you're in. But you're also responsible for who you are. You're not responsible for what other people do and what do they say. So just also when you're looking in that mirror, just remember that. Let them and let me. You are responsible for you, and the choices you make is going to help you get to where you need to get to. And then I think just from my side, Kish, I just want to say to you, bro, I'm incredibly proud of you. Sitting here having this discussion with the Kishen now. I just need you to know I'm immensely proud of you, brother. I'm immensely proud of
Thank you.
the work that you're doing, how you are showing up, and the difference that you are making. This is you hitting that sexy cover drive on the front foot. Yeah, I'm just really happy to see you where you at this point in time. And I just want to wish you continued success. And I just want to let you know that I'm really proud of you. So yeah, just well done and
thank you.
congratulations, Kish.
Thank you, bro. That really means a lot coming from you. And folks, that's Bharat Purushottam, leader, wiser, just imparting knowledge on us that we've always continued to take on and will continue to do so. So thank you, bro. Appreciate that. I wish you all the success and everything good that's gonna come your way. After sharing this, I know a lot of people are gonna actually acknowledge who the man Bharat is, and I'm just so glad and honored to be able to share your story with the world. And I hope it resonates with you guys listening today. If you have any comments, likes, just make sure to share it below. You guys know the drill. Subscribe to the channel. I can bring you a lot more people like my brother to just have honest conversations like we've had today, and just trying to understand that we all want to just be the best version of ourselves. And by us being open and honest and vulnerable, we hope so that it can for you too. So until the next one, guys, stay zen. Love you. Thank you.